Good morning, Aries. Welcome to my channel. This is Ron from Tarot of the Twin Sun, and I'm going to continue on with the cardinal signs, working with the energies of February 2020 for Aries. This is a situationship reading involving Aries and three iterations of Arian quality. So we'll be dealing with energies. These energies are mutable, they are not fixed, and there is a possibility for you to take from the three portals resonance and to make what you will, take what you will of it, and to create some sort of harmonic resonance in order to guide you for the month of February 2020. Each portal is essentially a cycle or combination of cycles which will help you to see the karma of the situation and hopefully find some sort of way to confirm or perhaps liberate you from certain circumstances that may or may not affect you. So I'm working with the 1890 deck from Alietta, French deck, and it's very old. And we'll go ahead and clear the energies and start with your reading for the first iteration, the first portal for Aries, February 2020. Okay, this deck is ready. Okay, so for the first iteration, the portal is now open. There is something repressed, some sort of emotional memory within your conscience that has to do with the subconscious as well. There is something that is repressed, and it has to do with a memory of some form of love that was once offered to someone. And this memory is very deeply ingrained in your psyche. It is affecting your own happiness. There is an element of escapism, some sort of thing from the past that had to be left behind in order to find solace, in order to find peace and harmony. When this occurred, there was something left behind, some sort of disturbance, and now there is some form of catharsis. There is an element of realization about the situation. After a great deal of leaving it, there is a revisitation, and the emotions that have been suppressed are now being revisited. This is what I see, and there is something to declare about this, um, this, this thing, this revisitation, this reopening of certain karmas is showing you something. There is some form of truth about the nature of how you nurtured the situation, something about the way you gave to the situation. It was like feeding it in a certain way, feeding this person, feeding the chemistry between you two was very strong, to the point of tumult. There was a lot of strife and emotional clashing, verbal sparring, and this led to a type of escapism to find some sort of solution. But that eventually rebounded, and in February there is a rebounding effect in which you can see some very deep and hidden, um, um, motivations. Okay, these motivations include a type of uh, commitment. Now that you are revisiting, it's like a commitment that that is more spiritual in nature. It does not require um, any sort of thinking or any sort of formal commitment. Um, but something about it was not formal enough for you, or perhaps for them. And because of this, there is an element of um, it's like you are valiant in the way you express how you feel, and the passion that you feel for this person is undeniable. But more than anything, I think the need to find peace was a result of passion, to preserve the passion, to preserve some sort of reticence, to be um, mm, not foolhardy, but it was as if your energy, what you wanted, your intention, your passions were so intense that you needed to continue even if it hurt. Um, Perhaps this was an element of forbidden love. Perhaps this was, if it was consummated, some sort of union was consummated, it was primarily based on passion, as well as a lot of idealization. Um, and this idealization eventually led to a type of realization, at least for you, that the emotions that were being fed between you two were extremely overpowering and perhaps overwhelming, especially if you have a Venus and Aries placement. There is a truth about this type of union that you have found through heartbreak, and through some sort of ego death. There is a truth that you are now equipping, that essentially mm, you are using in order to protect yourself and perhaps create barriers to protect yourself. Protect what exactly? You are protecting something about your seventh house. We have Méchant Femme here. This is Libra, with the Queen of Swords in reverse, and there is an element of well, I want to call it an element of surprise. Something about the way you balance out the disharmony or harmony that may have come from this situation. Something about what they said, how they said, or what you said. There was like some sort of mutual triggering that led to a type of fear, and then the fear is being has been converted into anger, and now there is a type of reticence or retaliation, some sort of need to rebalance or to reassimilate something about the situation. Now there is this rebellious quality, and you are trying to find justice in something that was an act of boredom. Somehow the emotions, even though they were very intense and very compelling, mostly this led to dispassion. The emotional content within the situation led to dispassion, and there was an element of either sadness or dispassion or both. And this was kind of boring for you. Now, there is an element of finding karma in this situation, finding how, through observation, how there was an active agent here that had to do with your own independence, and how you held a secret that was very deep and profound, but showed you illumination about. This was a very deep-seated secret, okay? Something about the unhappiness that you found in solemnity and solitude, or perhaps the lack of joy or the general boredom that you may be finding in your own self hood. This is not your self, but this is selfhood. This is like Nine of Pentacles, or rather, this is more like what fulfills you in terms of your own hard work. This is what you've been working to, what fulfills you. There is a secret about the motivation behind this, and it has to do with the ability um, to essentially see your options and to make a choice and to have a projection and an intent. Um, But be careful, because this secret motivation of no longer being clouded by emotional haziness is leading to a type of victory. Yes, it's true, but also this victory may be coming off to others as a bit of arrogant, has an arrogant sort of undertone. There may be a lot of pride in some sort of motivation, especially when it comes to this person. There was something about them and you that had to do with the pentacle cycle, so commitments here with the Four and the Five of Pentacles, the Four coming up in the upright, indicating some sort of conservation aspect. I think this is probably your side, and on their side, um, it has to do with the Five of Pentacles in the reverse. So there's a possibility that there may be some sort of third element in this equation, and also some feeling of abandonment. But you are here reserving, along with the moon cycles, which is now occurring, the new moon cycles, some form of structure that helps you feel elevated and sure. Um, your energy is also coming up here with the Fool, Le Folie de Alchimie, which is the foolishness or the folly of alchemy, which is one of the secret arts, and you are going and embarking on a path away from this energy. The energies, of course, can be vice versa, but this person um, and you are concerned with some form of stability, but there may be this mirroring effect where one is looking over the other after the fact that one is moving away from the other, and there may be an element of cutting, or perhaps an element of solitude and deep reflection within this equation. A lot of swords energy is occurring here. Some form of enlightenment, or perhaps um, an obstruction to an enlightenment is happening here according to the motivations of someone over the other. This motivation is pushed by the need to make a very focused choice, a choice towards being set free from an element of imprisonment, as well as to avoid some sort of incarceration. Also, there is some sort of hidden commitment to change here, the need to dedicate oneself to a great need, a great desire to change, but this desire to change is slow in coming, and transformation will occur once you are able to accept the gifts that the universe is trying to bring to you, some sort of truth that comes in the form of the backing of the higher self here with Boss d'Argent. And there also is an aspect of romance with this person that was more incidental than anything. It just occurred. Perhaps there's an apology that needs to occur. Also, there is the energy of the Eight of Swords, which indicates to me the need to break free from certain critical aspects of the relationship. One person is being extremely critical, and now there is an opportunity for alleviation, for reconciliation, but this person is slow in coming, and is very hesitant to making the apology. This could be you or them. Ultimately, there's something to be known about the situation that has to do with a force majeure, some sort of major force, an entanglement that has to do with karma, as well as the need to realize that there are certain aspects of toxicity that you may have been tempting in, and it is important for you to remain careful in staying healthy and to finding some sort of balance that has been missing in terms of your passions. Also, there is an element of hesitancy in order to find some sort of solution with this person. You need to realize that there is a hold that they have on you that is quite everlasting. Let's move on. So, first portal is closed, and now I'm moving on to the 1975 Moroccan Fez. Okay. Okay. Aries number two, there is the Six of Swords occurring here, and just like the previous iteration, there is an echo of something from the past inside the present. However, right now, there is a cycle that you are concerned with that has to do with escapism. There are elements of something that you may be escaping. There is the need to discover how deep down inside you need to find an element of stability. You've been trying to work hard at something. Your soul has been moving towards a new purpose or a new drive, but it's been very difficult to define the detail in this. Also, from the past, there is an element of temptation. Someone is trying to communicate to you from the past and bring in some sort of temptation. The temptation is for you to realize something of a lost cause, some sort of thing from the past where there was a separation or disharmony in general with the Ten of Cups in reverse. And this points to an end of a cycle. Something about this movement is very reminiscent, and it's laying in your mind, and some sort of emotional content that has been suppressed is being you're working hard to finding the detail about this. Also, there is something about the nature of this journey that has to do with the return, some sort of return here, the return of some hidden and repressed emotions that you've invested in the situation. And it's very important for you to realize that there's something about the way you think about the situation that it could be quite enlightening, something about your motivation to reason, to communicate is very much here. And it has to do with confusion, as well as confusion stemming from a cycle of emotions that was leading up to something. But you are working hard in finding the detail in this situation, and it would be prudent for you to find truth in some sort of romance that had to do with not only romance but reason. It seems to me that the motivations of these lovers has to do with the type of fleeting observation. One is trying to catch up to the other, and I think you are trying to stand in your higher truth regardless of what this person has to say or what they do. There is something about what you're returning to that still has an echo of confusion. When it comes to your emotions, these are not understood well, and it's very important that you find some way to ground yourself so that these emotions can be understood, so that you can find the detail that you have been running away from. There is a great deal of reason and truth that you are standing by, and there is a possibility for you to find great healing as well as a revelation that will lead you to break through and find a form of higher self that does not require the presence or the charm of this person. Okay? Now, let's do the final iteration. That was nice and easy. Oh, good God. So I'm moving on to the Portugal deck. It's one of my stronger decks. Once again, this is Aries Situationship reading, 3 portals, 3 iterations in which to find resonance, some harmony within your situationship. Okay. Okay. There's something about your commitments, my dear Aries, commitments that have to do with binding agreements with your higher purpose. Something about you coming into consciousness is tied directly to the energy of business, as well as the energy of finance, or the energy of certain energies that tie you to the ground. There's a grounding element here that is slow and steady in your approach to higher consciousness. Also, there is in the month of February this overarching need to ground yourself with Rey de Oros here, the King of Pentacles. But your motivations are firm, but I mean, it seems to me that you are curious about something else. Something about your spiritual path is constantly looking over and over something from the past, some sort of dealings with a Libra, Taurus, or a Gemini. And it has led to this binding situation, some sort of bind that you hold with this energy that has to do with your own ability to grow and expand and manifest whatever the hell you want. Now it's interesting because this all stems from a passion that has to do with lost love and something that died in the end. Something about your spiritual path is linked to a type of lesson that was that is holding you to a sense of purpose. And even though there is a great deal of passion, it may be misdirected. Something about your growth and your commitments are tied to an element of of a lesson that you learned from someone who knew how to walk gray area very well. Something about their motivations, and the way they went about creating, had to do with a cycle of hidden commitments and peace found through um, some sort of transformation. Here, there is an element that they offered to you, but you weren't having it, and you went off somewhere else on this spiritual quest. It was a romantic offer of great emotion, and they offered to you some sort of artificial agreement. It wasn't a real agreement. This agreement was a commitment that had to do with someone acting out of ego. They were, and you were able to reason beyond this, but turn the better cheek. You weren't very you were critical from a distance, but you did not arm yourself. And there still is something about you didn't. I mean, so basically, I mean, you were able to use reason in this and see straight through their facade, and know that there was an element of disaster or chaos from this person's energy. So you decided to say no to that. But perhaps there was something unavoidable about it anyway. Something had to collapse, and you decided to move on with a type of commitment to somewhere else. This had to do with the energy of reason and stability. Something reasonable about your actions had to do with straight practicality. It was very grounded, your approach to this. They they are also trying to seek within their environment some truth, but I think you have a secret knowing about their motivations and how they move away from a certain pattern that you are used to, that you have learned from your family as well as your upbringing. Also, there is something about a need to resurrect something they have on their energy. They want to bring back some sort of hidden loyalty to you, or perhaps for you to get the gifts that you were challenged to get. Now there is no longer a challenge, but they are dealing with a great deal of confusion. And you see this as an element of karma. Something about what they were trying to do was possess you. And you had to tell them some sort of half-truth to get away from their behavior, which was very primitive. So now there is an element of a hidden message, or a message that is not sent to a person who still idolizes an aspect of what you do, how you lead, how you go about your business is very compelling to this person. They see you as an influence, and the love that you have for this person is being held back because you do not want it to be a chore. They still need to find some sort of vision and are trying to protect themselves from um, mm, some sort of beginning that you may consider with them. But it seems to me that you have acted out of reason and for reasons that have to do with the energies of Capricorn as well as Gemini, as well as Libra and Taurus. There's something about their motivations that you have played sort of the wiser hand in this. There still is some sort of unfinished element here, some sort of commitment, and I don't know if you trust them, but you want to, and there's like a mirroring effect here that has to do with a transformation that they need to go through, and you are the catalyst for this transformation. There's something about your side that has to do with either revenge or some sort of need to find balance. Okay. All right, my dear Aries, I am wiped. That is your reading. Those are the three portals, and they are now closed. Once again, this is Ron from Tarot of the Twin Sun. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you mid-month in February for the Great Mirror reading, in which I will pull the energies between you and someone else and find what resonates. Right, so enjoy the Happy New Year, year of the rat, and I'll see you. Thank you. Bye-bye.